Some services are slowly being restored. Several buildings caught fire and helicopters were used to try to put them out. Emergency workers are trying to free many people trapped in vehicles or under buildings, but the rescuers are reportedly stretched to their limit. Christchurch residents were still rebuilding their lives and businesses after September's quake. This latest tremor has knocked the city back yet again. Azhar Sukri, Al Jazeera.
Well, Bob Parker is the mayor of Christchurch, and he warned people to stay away from the central business district. That area has now been cordoned off as buildings there could still collapse. He told people to try and help each other, and he also described the situation on the ground.
The situation is extremely grave, and the first thing that I need to ask our citizens to do is, if you're able to stay in your house, that's exactly where you should be. All of our energy tonight is really focused on the need to rescue people. As you will have heard already, in the central city we have a significant number of fatalities, and we have a large number of people. We're not certain of how many. The best estimate that I can get is certainly more than 100 people would be trapped in collapsed buildings around the city, but it could be more.
Well, communications have been disrupted. There is a water shortage, and about half of Christchurch will be without power tonight. We'll, of course, update you with the latest on what's happening in New Zealand as we get more information. But for now, it's back to Doha.
Thank you very much, Divya. Still to come on the program, continuing coverage, of course, of the rapidly developing situation in Libya, including an update from Nazanin at the web desk.
Yes, Libyan bloggers on social media sites are getting very active again. Several Twitter messages urging the UN to implement a no-fly zone over the country.
And as the situation worsens in Libya, still no word from the man who lives in this house. Coming up, we'll get the latest from our correspondent in Washington, D.C.
China has a growing elderly population, and as a consequence of its one-child system, there are fewer younger people to take care of them. It's a responsibility that often falls to the state. Private retirement homes offer an alternative, but independence comes at a price, financially and emotionally. Faces of China on Al Jazeera.
In my classroom, there is no Arabs. It's just me.
They know they have to live here in our country.
A Palestinian student at university in an Israeli settlement must find the uneasy balance between honoring his heritage and securing his future.
You have to remember, here in this place was a country called Palestine.
Mohammed Speed, a witness special at this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome back. A reminder of our main story now on Al Jazeera and the latest developments, of course, in Libya. The Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi has appeared on state television denying rumors that he's fled to Venezuela and says he is in Tripoli. The United Nations has condemned airstrikes on protesters in the capital and the cities of Azawea and Misrata. Also, several Libyan diplomats around the world have resigned. That includes the ambassador to India and 4 diplomats in China. Well, meanwhile, Libya's neighbours are very much concerned about the security at their border with the country. Nazanin Mousheri joins us now live from Ras Ajdir, that's at the border between Tunisia and Libya. Nazanin, tell us about the situation there.
Well, there's been a steady stream of Tunisians crossing the border. So far, we haven't seen that many Libyans, but the Tunisians that we have been speaking to, and we're talking about hundreds of Tunisians who've been crossing in the last 24 hours or so, they've been telling us there is a heavy security presence on the other side of the border, about 300 meters away from us. We're actually about 160 kilometers away from Tripoli itself. Now, they have been saying that they've been stopped at the border before they cross into Tunisia. They've been searched and their mobile phones have been taken from them. The reason, they say, is because the Libyans do not want them to take any footage of anything they've seen, any of the violence or the burning or the looting that they've seen across into Tunisia. Their money's also been taken from them. Any electronic items have been taken off, and the only thing allowed to bring over, they're basically their clothes, and they're pretty angry about the situation. There are around 50,000 Tunisians in Libya, and they're very concerned right now.
And so what is the Tunisian government, Nazanin, doing to ensure the safe return of its citizens from Libya and also the safety of its border?
We've spoken to Tunisia's ambassador in Libya, in Tripoli, and he has said that 2 planes will be going across and picking up some 1,000 Tunisians who are stuck there. But the problem that we have right now, what people here are telling us, is that they're really concerned about the safety of those left behind. It's very difficult for them to find transport to get out. And since Saif Mohammed Gaddafi, the son of Gaddafi, made that speech about a couple of days ago where he spoke about blaming Tunisia and Egypt for the popular uprising in Libya, people say that Tunisians are being targeted right now in Libya, and they're very concerned about what's going to happen next. And the military presence here is growing. Units have been arriving from various posts on this border, coming to this border post here, trying to beef up Tunisia's security presence here.
Thank you very much for that update. Nazanin Moushari reporting live from AlJazeera on the border between Libya and Tunisia. Now, expatriates from Libya are also leaving the country in droves, and Italians are no exception. Italy says it's to begin airlifting its citizens out of Libya on Tuesday, but many Italians aren't waiting for the rescue. Flights arriving in Rome have been packed with people fleeing the violence. Emeka Omolu has more.
Italian expatriates return home, relatives relieved they've escaped the worst. The media, however, want to know their stories, hoping for some clarity on events in Libya. All they get is an even more confusing picture.
Tripoli at the moment, at least, is not in the hands of the army. Most soldiers, anyway, are in favour of Gaddafi. At least that's what people say. Yet it is a very unpredictable situation.
Life carries on normally, except some people who say, "Long live Gaddafi," and others who say, "Down with Gaddafi." After dark, you have more people coming out who invoke the uprising. But from what I could see, the stories of mercenaries chopping hands and so on are nothing but urban legends.
We heard shootings and lots of confusion in town. Also, we heard that 5,000 people were on their way to Tripoli from Benghazi. But there is no official news because there is no press. So who knows? Anyway, the little that is known doesn't look good at all.
And this Serbian citizen who works in Libya says on the way to the airport there were civilians with guns on every corner. But unlike those coming from Tripoli, the Turkish expats who left the